Hola, ¿cómo están? And what is going on, everyone? DarkScheme here, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Halo 5 and comparing it to older Halo titles. The reason why is because I've been trying to really compare Halo 5 to older Halo titles like Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo CE, and while I'm seeing some comparisons that work well, I'm also seeing some comparisons that are kind of hard and tough to implement to Halo 5 now. One of the biggest ones that I really looked into is not only the gameplay and how differently it plays, but the community and the players who still play Halo to this day. That is including all the players who have stuck with Halo since the beginning or even later titles. And it's kind of hard to really implement new features and features that Halo 3 had into Halo 5, and I found that the biggest problem why is because of the population size. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that Halo 5's population isn't as big as it used to be in the past, but it is definitely a healthy population. There are a ton of people playing Warzone, there are a ton of people playing the Team Arena playlists, but it's kind of hard to really implement playlists that will, in reality, split the community too much. And I feel like when 343 is looking at Halo 5 and what features to include, and if they want to add additional playlists to Halo 5, they definitely look into the population and how many people are playing these playlists. I think that's one of the reasons why they haven't added anything to Halo recently, and I also wanted to really compare 343 and how they develop, how they update their game as well. Because as it stands now, every single update that we've gotten, every single playlist that has been included, they have all been the old playlists that we've liked from older Halo titles, but with 343's spin on it. And I think that's one of the things that we have to realize is that these playlists are not going to play like they did in the past, and adding a playlist is not going to instantly revitalize and bring back Halo to what it used to be. Once we get past that point, once we get past that kind of hope, I think we could really start looking into the reasons why 343 are doing things. I think the biggest comparison is, for example, Infection. The Infection playlist does not play at all like Halo 3 did. And it's not because of Halo 5 and all of its mechanics, but it's because the Forge maps that are kind of laid out for us and all the maps that have been altered to play for Infection have been repurposed. There is a new objective. You're not just camping in one spot for survivors. You're looking for weapons and you're running around the map to try and get better weapons than you have at the moment. And that kind of gives the gameplay a little bit more of movement for the game type instead of that kind of campy survivor playstyle and more frustration for the zombies, but also because this is kind of where 343 is looking at things. They're looking at, okay, players like this playlist, now let's remake it in Halo 5 and let's also try and improve on it or try and change things up. And I think that's the biggest comparison that I can really draw. I think one of the ones that I would say has been and truthfully, honestly, not as great, not as best as it could be, is definitely the Assault game mode. I've been seeing a few pro players play it, and when players play it in the Team Arena or at least the summer preview playlist, there's definitely a lot more work to be done, and I'm actually thankful for them to try and move Assault forward, but it's looking like in Halo 5 the Assault game type is just a little bit too hard to play. There's so much going on in Halo 5 that with Assault being a more complex game type than Capture the Flag, it is really just coming down to what team outslays the other team the most. And in reality, it looks like most of the time players are kind of just playing for kills, but in reality they're actually trying to go for the objective. And the objective, you need to kill the enemy team, I think like 2 times over to actually get a plant. And that's one of the game types that I feel like has been included but isn't doing as much as it should be, and I don't think it works that well. I think that's one of the reasons also why Oddball has not become a game type, because not only are the maps kind of set for Capture the Flag, Slayer, and Stronghold, those 3 game types, but having to add a new game type needs a ton of testing. And really, there isn't much to be tested if the game type isn't really being worked on constantly every single day. And I really see this game types that have been altered but isn't really working well, and that is actually not the fault of 343. It's more so that the game type is just not for Halo 5. It wasn't made for Halo 5. It was kind of just added afterwards and an afterthought, and it was implemented and it was exciting, but after playing it for a little bit, it was kind of just the sudden realization like, hey, this game type isn't really working out, and as much as they're testing it out, I don't think it's really going to work for Halo 5. Other than that, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed my little rant or my elongated rant about Halo 5, comparing it to older titles, and really comparing how well certain game types work on Halo 5 and how kind of not so well certain game types play out in Halo 5. But let me know, what do you guys think about all this? How do you feel about certain game types in Halo 5? How do you feel about certain playlists in Halo 5 compared to older Halo titles? Let me know. And as always, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.